So it's not really a bicker as much as it's just something that bugs me.
Oh, now we're just bringing grievances into the bicker of the week.
Welcome back, everybody. We are super excited to be here. We watched the Oscars in full. Megan had a reaction to how long it was. Would you like to explain yourself?
I mean, yeah, it was too long. And the whole time I enjoyed it, but like you're just waiting for another thing to happen. And then the thing happens. It's not even that exciting. I feel like I just want to have it be quick. I've like bellied up like I was coming to the Grammys, and it just wasn't. It was the Oscars.
It was the Oscars.
It was the Oscars.
It was.
Turns out
it was the Oscars.
I am. What is the line?
Turns out they
They
didn't
are
lie.
who they said they were. The Oscars. Conan was good.
Yeah, Conan was great,
Right.
as was Honora. So shout out to them for
Sweat.
basically winning everything.
Clean sweep.
Something else that we'll be watching this weekend is Unrivaled. They have a big weekend coming up. It's the last of the regular season. 2 playoff spots on the line, so we'll see who grabs that. And Diana Taurasi's retirement is officially official. We are going to talk about processing the end of an era.
It's a lot.
Teardrop.
Many teardrops. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more on that. We're going to pick little Sue Bird's brain because you guys basically shared like your whole career together in so many ways. And, you know, hopefully you can give us some good stories. Some I know just aren't airable and they're just going to have to stay locked in the vault. Sorry, everybody. But we're really looking forward to talking about that. Make sure you subscribe to A Touch More on YouTube if you're not already watching there. We are recording 2 live shows this weekend. I'm very excited about that. First is at Sloan MIT Conference in Boston. And then we are headed south to South by Southwest. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss those episodes when they drop and you can see us all up on your screen. I'm Megan Rapinoe.
And I'm Sue Bird. This is A Touch More. Let's get into it. All month long, Paramount Plus celebrates Women Who Move Mountains, a special collection of series and movies spotlighting remarkable women's stories and talents in front of and behind the camera. Need a laugh? Check out comedy favorites like After Midnight, hosted by Taylor Tomlinson, as well as hit CBS comedies Elsbeth, starring Carrie Preston, and Ghosts, starring Rose McIver, all streaming on Paramount Plus. Head to ParamountPlus.com to learn more about Women Who Move Mountains. Support for A Touch More comes from our friends at Nike. Nike puts the spotlight on those fearless athletes who defy expectations, rewrite the rules, and inspire the world through unapologetic greatness. What does that mean? That every time someone says you're too much, that you can't own the court, that you shouldn't be so big, so competitive, so loud on the field, you just win. We'll check out their new campaign later in the episode and highlight some of our favorite athletes who define that unmatched So Win mindset. Go to Nike.com to learn more and see their So Win collection.
Okay, the check-in. We're just going to dive.
Yeah,
we're going to dive right in.
For the heartstrings.
Breaking news. Diana Taurasi retires. As we mentioned last week, and we just mentioned at the top, Diana is official. Is retired from the game of basketball. Diana Taurasi of Chino, California. Our friend.
Chino a shout?
Yeah, I'm giving Chino a shout.
I didn't really know what Chino was until that show, The OC, came out. And then I had to go straight to D. I was like, whoa. You're from the bad side of the tracks?
Yeah.
She didn't really paint that picture. She reps Chino well.
Yeah, no, she's the pride of Chino. She might be the
Don
greatest.
Lugo's finest.
Yeah, exactly. Her high school, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she might be the greatest thing that would come out of Chino. Diana told Time Magazine that mentally and physically she's full. Quote, "I'm full and I'm happy."
Taking it back to Baby Fat Ballers with that one.
Yeah, she's not back on the butter, but she's full and happy. So obviously I want to ask you, and I think the people want to hear from you. Now that Dee has made it official and we can all sit back and try to really, truly appreciate the breadth of her career, her impact on the game. We're used to like getting these legacy questions ourselves. Now we get to answer about somebody else. What do you think her legacy is and should be? And what do you think her lasting impact is and should be on the game?
I don't know where to start.
This is a big question.
It's a huge question. And it's not like I didn't know this question was coming.
Yeah.
I knew. And yet I'm still at a little bit of a loss. I think the first word that comes to mind is, and a lot of people have been saying this, the first word that comes to mind is transcendent. She really transcended the game of basketball. She, the way she played, her talent, the way she carried herself, the swag,
different.
Her one-liners in, post-game interviews, just all of it. The way she competed, all of it. It went well beyond women's basketball. I always say walking around an airport with Diana is something else, And we kind of talk about how in our walks we notice different demos, right? Different groups of people that are definitely, keen on soccer. Different groups of people are a little more keen on basketball and vice versa. With Dee, it was everybody.
Yeah.
It was everybody. So that's really when I think of her impact, the first thing that comes to mind. And that's without talking about, which I know we're going to get into, that's without talking about the actual play, the actual games, the rings, the medals, the championships, the way she carried teams. The impact is about, it almost goes more granular. I think when you have turned on any of the interviews where current WNBA players, former, you could probably interview a 10-year-old and they'll have a story of how they've been inspired by Diana. Her impact is inspirational because it has inspired so many generations. But yeah, if you talk about her as a person and a player, it's just the total package. It's the total package. It's everything you would want. And there's some players that are crazy talented. And there's some players that have, like I said, swag or charisma or Riz, as the kids call it. There's some players that have personality. There's some players that are leaders. And there's some players that are winners. And there's some players that have a positive impact on their teammates and raise their level of play along with their own. Diana had it all. And I don't know, I can't even think men's, women's off the top that have it all like that. And really where she separates herself is the one-liners, is the quick wit. I mean, I don't know many people that go on The View and call Whoopi Goldberg Whippy. Like off the cuff, doesn't even miss a beat.
As a dig because her name got mispronounced.
Yeah. For those that didn't see, Whoopi mispronounced Diana's last name.
She's so quick.
And Dee just came quick with it.
Yeah.
So there's just not that many people that have it all. And that's really how I would describe Dee. I mean, rocking the bun for her whole existence, rocking the bun. I mean, a funny story there, when UConn played at Duke in whatever year, they chanted Princess Leia at her, which I thought was amazing.
That's funny.
Rock that bun, rock baggy shorts, high socks, a California kid, like to the core.
Very.
And she literally did it all. And I know Coach Auriemma talked about, the winning. She won everywhere. Not many people can say that. But yeah, I don't know. I really, it's like, how do you pick?
It's hard to put words.
But the one thing, I think the one thing I can say that is really just from my perspective is the WNBA is clearly in a major growth phase. It is fucking booming in this way that none of us really could have imagined in so many ways. And, there were some early generation players. You think of, and I'm not even going to go way back. We could go way back. We could talk Nancy Lieberman and Annie Myers for sure. But if you just talk early days WNBA, you've got Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops, the first three to sign with the league. And those names, I mean, you can't talk about the league without talking about those names. But then there's this middle generation. I was a part of it. Tamika Catchings, Candace Parker. And that middle generation is really the generation that held it down and kind of kept it kept the awareness just high enough while we were getting nothing. We were getting no visibility. We were getting no coverage. And Diana leads that. And that's where we'll circle back, and I'll finish my little monologue. That's where the transcendence of it all, to me, lives. That's where she really was, because she was able to transcend the game, because whether it's an NBA player or just Joe Schmo down the street or a woman who doesn't even watch basketball, everybody knew her name. She was the name you knew.
Yeah.
And even the other day I was traveling and I actually had my hair up in a bun, which I don't do as much anymore. And I was just waiting to board my flight and a young girl came over and was like, I'm a really big fan. Can I get a picture with you? And I was like, yeah, sure. You must watch the pod.
Touch more.
You probably know me from A Touch More. She's like, can I get a picture? I was just telling my brother how much I love Diana Taurasi and it would be an honor. And I was like, oh. I was like, close. And I can't tell you how many times that has happened because if there's one name people know.
Yeah.
And the one name people have known, it's Diana's. So there's so much I could say. I know we're going to get into some fun stuff, but congratulations, Dee. You already know what it is. We love you.
You're the GOAT. Actually, though. A lot of people say that.
People say GOAT a lot.
People are saying GOAT all the time now, and it's like, no,
You're
actually.
My greatest of all time, hands down.
Yeah, I think that mantle belongs to her. You sort of touched on it a little bit, this kind of middle generation where it wasn't the start of the WNBA because there was a lot of excitement there. The Lisa Leslie's, Rick Lobos, the Swoops, the Coopers, that generation. There was you guys. And now I feel like there's this new generation.
Yeah, the Kate Martin who's like, I do deserve this.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad for it.
You're damn right, Kate.
You do.
You're damn right. So much of your guys' career, so much of Diana's career was spent out of the public eye, was spent either in Russia, Turkey, or overseas, or just spent a little bit in kind of like a media wilderness. What do you feel like people miss about Diana as a person or don't understand? And what do you feel like they missed about her game just because she played so much of her best and in her prime basketball overseas and you were there for damn near all of it?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think you tune into a game and you see her play and you see like the fire, the competitiveness. She might spit on the court. She's going to jaw at a ref. You're
gonna entertained.
Yeah, every single,
no matter what.
Yeah, every single WNBA player interview I saw had, when they were asked about a story, had something to do with like an elbow to the chest from Dee. And this is all true. But what you might not know, which is also probably even more true, is just how kind, how generous, how thoughtful, how warm Diana is. So that's first and foremost. But when you talk about overseas and maybe just the things people don't see in general, no matter where you're playing, her work ethic, I mean, the definition of a gym rat for sure. You could not keep her out of the gym. And overseas is probably the best way to tell the story because we had so much downtime. So much downtime. You really had nothing else to do. And with that, we were in the gym a lot because a lot of overseas teams practice twice a day, which is just absolutely awful.
Just because.
Because we got nothing else to do. Yeah. To quote Diana, they mistake activity with achievement. One of her favorite go-tos. But it got to a point where there was literally conversation about having to hide her basketball shoes so she would take a day off. And I'm not joking. She was in that gym. So her love of the game, she talks about, but what you might not have seen is that work ethic. Like getting in the gym. Now she didn't want to do any of the like, she got into strength training and all that later. Her conditioning, she ain't doing that. And I got stories from college where she would like literally crash out during the mile. But get on the court, it was like she never got tired. She never got bored. She was always chasing something. And you saw it come out in her play.
Okay. One thing you personally would take from her game to put into your game?
God.
And one thing you would take away from your game to put into her game?
I mean, God, what would I take from her game? Probably just her confidence. Like her confidence. And you know what? I'm going to give her a shout. Her ability to finish around the rim, not a lot of people talk about. Not a lot of people talk about Dee's finishing around the rim. Well, she's strong, yeah, but it's her from day one of her being at Connecticut, I noticed that. I have like vivid memories of that, her finishing around the rim. And it's not something I think for guards, especially a three-point shooter like herself, you don't talk about a lot. Man. So if I could add, actually the truth is, I was a good enough three-point shooter. My mid-range was good. If I could add finishing at the rim the way Dee could, but the real answer is her confidence for sure. And if I could give her one thing, I mean, obviously, I think we all know the answer. Calm.
Cool.
Some calm, some cool, some collectedness,
some diplomacy.
But then it's like, another thing Dee loves to say, can't have it all.
No, true.
Can't have it all.
True. Did you two ever conspire to be on the same WNBA team? Be honest. And how far did the talks get?
We did once.
For real?
For real. We had one, and literally how far it got was the one night. But we had one. For those that have heard us talk about our dinners in Russia, they would go anywhere from, I would say, average, like 4 to 5 hours. I repeat, we had nothing to do. So we would just sit in restaurants and like yak. And this one night, we kind of were like, what are we doing? If I had to guess the year, could I guess the year? Yeah, I probably could. Probably like in the 2012-13 range. Mm-hmm. We're like, what are we doing? Like, why aren't we playing together in the WNBA? This is dumb, And we're like, all right, how would this look? And we got to the point where we knew it would be New York.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a team picked out.
Really?
Yeah, we had a team picked out. Because let's be honest, I'm not going to Phoenix and she's not coming to Seattle.
Yeah, were you like, you would love Seattle,
for like 5 seconds, and we both were like, well, neither of us are doing that. We need, a third city. And so we had New York picked out, and we were game planning it. It's just the two of us. Yeah. We did text our agent in the moment, and we were like, is this possible? How can we get this done? So the wheels started turning. The alcohol was flowing. I'm not going to lie.
You're in Russia.
Listen, the teeth were purple. We were going. We had grand plans. And then, by the next day, it was like, well, I'm not leaving Seattle. And she's like, well, I'm not leaving Phoenix. And that was the end of that. But I will say, in the moment, it sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is loyal.
We were like, we're going to dominate the biggest market in sports.
Yeah.
Win their first championship. We had it all. We had it all
the
planned
Queens
out.
of New York.
Yeah.
Is loyalty both of your most important
so.
qualities?
I think we just stumbled on something.
I think we did.
Both didn't transfer out of college. Took a lot for us to leave our overseas teams. Took a lot.
Yeah.
We each played for a couple. Was not easy decisions. And then obviously both played our entire careers in one team in the WNBA.
Yeah, you two both to me are like, and obviously getting to know you both a lot better over these last few years. But I think even people just who have never met you and only watched people playing against you, I feel like players would say this. You're like the star's star. You both are like the kind of players that the best players want to be. I'm just giving you guys compliments now.
Thanks, babe.
But I feel that about both of you, and you can tell in the way that everybody talks about you, and especially obviously Diana just retiring and hearing all the clips and the funnies and the thises and the that's. It's like you two both are, we call, first on the team sheet. It's just like you're both the kind of players, and it's obviously, you think about your guys' career and the success everywhere you went and the way people spoke about you. It's something that is rare. Mm-hmm. It's something that, maybe a different kind of player or person does leave and go to New York or does, things more selfish or whatever it is. But it's just not all stars are like that. And there's always levels and hierarchies to everything. And you two are at the very top.
Well, very quickly, off script a little bit, it has been fun for me to see all the love she's been getting, which she definitely deserves. Mm-hmm. But in seeing all these, whether it's interviews, pictures, even stuff that some players have been posting, you know what I've noticed? And I'll be honest, like, I feel so lucky that I got to share my career with Dee. It isn't just, it goes well beyond being a teammate. And we really were there with each other outside of the WNBA play. But then you could argue we had some epic games against each other. We really got to experience it all. And I think our relationship off the court helped us play well on the court. We just complement. We're so complimentary. Mm-hmm. And so when I've seen these interviews and these pictures, you know what I've noticed? I'm always like somewhere lurking.
Yeah.
Like every single picture someone posts, they're just like, I'm like right there. It reminds me of
and
Zoolander.
Yeah.
where at one point the assassin of it all, who's like doing the dirty work for Mugatu, they just like, she's in every like death scene that you've seen in like a newspaper clipping or a video. I forget her name.
I kind of know.
I know. Well, this is actually going to come back to our Bicker. Stay tuned for that, everybody.
Great.
But it really reminded me of that. I'm just like always there right next to her and vice versa. And again, I've literally had a front row seat to something so special.
It is literally hilarious because you guys obviously love each other and have such a great relationship, and there is nothing more that either of you want to do than beat each other when you're playing. Like there is like no love lost. There is nothing.
Some of the harder moments came during some bowling games overseas.
I can
Russians
only
love
imagine.
bowling. There's bowling alleys everywhere, like in hotels. Oh my God, in hotels.
Never knew that.
All of it. So we bowled a lot.
No, I could just only imagine because both of you are forever scheming for an advantage. Neither of you forget shit. Neither of you let a joke go untold. You can pull something from like 20 years back and like put it right perfectly in the conversation. Like I would love a brain map of both of your guys' brains while you're playing each other.
Yeah, but you're never, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Not in bowling. Ping pong, but no, in a word spar, if you will, you're not going to win.
No, it's dangerous.
She will beat you. I don't even try. No. When she says something like ridiculous, I don't even try.
No,
because you know what happens. Jugular.
She'll go for it.
She'll go straight for the jugular. All of a sudden, like your mom's ugly, and it's like, oh, what did I do to deserve that?
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe this leads into my next question. Well, what's something people don't understand about Diana off the court? She'll go for your jugular. No. What is something people don't understand? She's a pretty open book, but not that open.
Yeah.
Not that open.
So I think I already talked a little bit about just her kindness, right? Her heart is ginormous. Whether you are her family member, her best friend, or someone she's meeting for the first time. There's something infectious about that. And she really does make people feel like the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. Again, this goes for off the court, but on the court, it's been displayed with how her teammates have played even better than they probably could have imagined. But I think the thing that drives her, and she's spoken about it, but when you're around her, you see it. You see the impact of her family. You know, she is the daughter of immigrants. They came over from Argentina. So that mindset, that oozes out of her in how she plays, and how she operates, and how she is as a person. Her love for Argentina is deep. I mean, you know, I see later on you have some questions around, you know, if Dee would trade her whole career to be a soccer player. If she was playing for Argentina, if she was playing for Argentina, that bitch would be out. I can't even. One of my all-time favorite stories, I'm getting ahead a little bit, but one of my all-time favorite stories is we're at the Olympics. I wish I could remember which one. Pick one of the 5. No, I'm joking. Pick any of them. We're at opening ceremonies. And first of all, anytime we went to the Olympics, if we're walking around the village, if we see anytime she saw the light blue and white, it was like, hey, hola, vamos, hey! Like she just always had a vibe about her when she came across Argentinians. Forget when we saw Manu in the village. Oh, she lost her shit. But there was always, we saw the flag. She was just like giving it, giving like her ode to it. Anyways, so we're at opening ceremonies. We're walking in and she sees she sees Argentinian athletes in their opening ceremonies outfits, the light blue, the black, the white, the whole thing. And she's like, oh, take this picture, take this video. So I have this video in my archives where she's saying like, what's up to all of them, because that's Dee, grabbing them by the neck, giving them a kiss, the whole thing. And then she goes to take this picture and she's like, hey, Argentina, just like this. And I have a video of it. And when she walked away, we kept walking. We walk like another couple minutes and we see more of these people dressed like this. And finally it occurs. I was like, oh my God, Dee, those are the volunteers. Those aren't even Argentinian athletes. So she has all these pictures with the volunteers who are just there like guiding you along. We were like, that's so weird. All these Argentinians are just like lining the walk. Oh, it's one of my fucking favorite stories.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
sorry,
so
ahead of myself.
Her love for Argentina and her family is synonymous and bigger than anything.
Yeah, and then something else to know about her, which by the way, if you're her friend, a close, part of her circle, to know this is to love this about her, but also hate it. You know, whether it's me, Coach Auriemma, she didn't even tell us that she was retiring.
No.
I got a call, or it's actually a text, from her agent being like, hey, there's a Time article coming out. I think this was like Sunday. Hey, there's a Time article coming out on Tuesday. Diana's announcing her retirement. Can you do an interview for it? I was like, yeah, sure.
Obviously.
So she's retiring. And then I read somewhere that Coach Auriemma, she didn't tell him either.
No.
And she still like technically hasn't.
She's one of one. She's one of one. She's never going to do anything she doesn't want to do.
Exactly.
Support for the show comes from McDonald's. And this one is exciting because just the mention of McDonald's brings back a flood of memories.
First thing that comes to mind is when I was lucky enough in elementary school for my mom to leave me a McDonald's lunch.
At school?
This was like a major thing. You would get called down to the office. You'd get there and there'd be a Happy Meal just waiting.
After soccer, getting a little Happy Meal that was just like literally the highlight of my life.
After soccer practice, basketball practice, that was like the treat.
Yeah.
The treat.
Like, I worked hard. I'm getting a Happy Meal. And to this day, being in a foreign airport that has a McDonald's, I will never not say no. After the World Cup 2023, boom, McDonald's, New Zealand. Thank you so much. Made all my spirits come back. I loved it so much. I'm getting a cheeseburger. I'm getting fries.
No, it is crazy. Some of my fonder memories in Russia when I played overseas was going to McDonald's. It felt like a home cooked meal.
It's like a little slice.
Yeah,
you see
it's like a slice of home.
It's like a little, a little slice of home.
We didn't even get into the Sundays and McFlurries. That's a
whole other thing. Someone else who loves McDonald's, a WNBA All-Star herself, is Angel Reese. For a limited time, you can try Angel Reese's special featuring a barbecue bacon quarter pounder with cheese at participating McDonald's restaurants. It's basketball season, which means it's McDonald's season. Get the Angel Reese special at McDonald's while you still can.
All month long, Paramount Plus celebrates Women Who Move Mountains, a special collection of series and movies spotlighting remarkable women's stories and talents in front of and behind the camera. The collection includes the badasses who take on covert operations, deep space, and even the afterlife in hit originals Lioness, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and School Spirits. Watch Zoe Saldana, Rebecca Romaine, Peyton List, and more in the Women Who Move Mountains collection. Head to ParamountPlus.com to learn more about Women Who Move Mountains.
Okay, you've gotten into a little bit, but I want to do a game.
Okay.
It's just called The Best and Funniest.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say some keywords, and you got to give me the best and funniest situations in all of these things.
Okay.
We'll just start easy. All of them will be easy. The WNBA.
The best and the funniest?
The best and funniest. Memories, stories, moments, games.
I think the best is, honestly, when we played them in the 2018 semifinals, it was game 2, and she hit 3 or 4 threes in the final couple minutes, and then 1 to send it to overtime where I fucking knew where the ball was going.
Yeah, you knew you said it.
Well, they ran at the play before. Yeah. And I said, don't leave her. I know. Stewie. Switch, Stewie. Switch. And it didn't matter. And that little 2-minute stretch, even though it was against, my team, was some of the best clutch moments you could see. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the best that comes to mind. She also did set the scoring record at one point. It's since been broken, but when she set the WNBA scoring record, I think at 47 points, she was fucking livid because it would have been 50 on a 3-point play, but they actually ended up calling it an offensive foul, and she fouled out. So she finished that game at 47. It should have been 50 and
Devastating.
Counting. The funniest, honestly, every time she ever got ejected from a game, I got a selfie of her in the locker room, like, boop, just got ejected. Every time.
Oh, that's good.
Every time.
We need all those selfies. This might be a hard one because you guys were at 5 together and from a very young age. The Olympics, best and funniest.
Actually, the best moment for the Olympics, I'm going to go in the first Olympics. There is this misnomer around how much she played. I think it's because we get grouped together so much, and I really didn't play that much in the Athens Olympics. I was definitely in a learning role. Diana in the gold medal game, not only did she play, I actually had to look this up to make sure, but not only did she play, like she had like 8 points, hit a couple threes, 50% shooting. Like she had impact.
Okay.
So in her very first Olympics, where the young players really didn't get a lot of time, she gets inserted into the gold medal game, which was not an easy game. It was not an easy game. It was a very close game against Australia. Some people think we win by 30 all the time. It's not true. And she played really well in that very first Olympics. Now, are there other stories where she balled out later on? Absolutely. But that one definitely sticks out. And I think funniest is that opening ceremonies, we were told, because usually we go to opening ceremonies on a different bus from the rest of the U.S. because we're staying somewhere else. We were told, okay, go to the opening ceremonies. When you see the fireworks, that's like a couple minutes before the end. So you all need to leave so we can beat the crowd, essentially. And we were like, cool, cool. They said this to the whole team.
Yeah.
So opening ceremonies is going. It's Athens. It's Greece. It's a big thing. And Bjork is going to be lighting the torch for the final time.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, Bjork, this is cool.
Yeah. The Olympic torch.
Yeah, the Olympic torch. Yeah. And the fireworks go off, and me and her look at each other, and we're like, it's go time. So the two of us like scurry off. We leave. You know, you're basically on the inside of a track in a big stadium. So we leave. We hit the exit. We're now like in the tunnels, like in the bowels of this stadium. And we look back, and nobody came with us. It was the wrong fireworks. So at first we were like, what the fuck? What are we going to do? Because now we're just like, we don't know where we are. We don't know what's going to happen. And as it turned out, where we ended up was right where Bjork was walking out to light the final torch. So we had this like face-to-face moment with Bjork. So it worked out great. It worked out great. But it's one of my highlights of Olympic stories.
Okay. UConn. Best and funniest.
Best. I'll
you
go
guys
quick.
spent 2 years at UConn together. 3 years.
2 years.
2 years at UConn.
Yeah, 2 years.
Your junior, senior year.
Yeah. Best was we played at Tennessee, and she hits a three, rubs Coach Auriemma's head, just gives a little doop doop. And then after I think an and one, like punches the stanchion, like the backdrop of the basket, just fucking pounds it. She also did have an incredible and one against Stacey Dales in the final game that sealed the championship for us in 2002. And that's like a picture that is used a lot, is me like jumping into her arms. So that's a highlight.
Okay.
Funniest, we were out. The men's soccer team was in the national championship game.
Shout out.
So we all went out together. It was like a day game. We watched the game. They win. So they're the 2000 national champions. We were really good friends with the guys on the soccer team. So we're out the rest of the day into the night. And as we're returning back to our dorms, the men's team was returning home. And so their bus pulls up and they get out, and it's like, we're so lucky we get to be the greeters. So we're like, hey guys, we're all excited. Yay. She is like jumping, with joy. Her foot, as she like lands in the snow, she jumps up and comes out of her shoe. And we still don't know where that shoe is. She lost her shoe in the snow, and that was a wrap. We all went home. We couldn't find it. It was just, that was that.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Okay, best and funniest, Russia.
Best. Okay, so the thing about Dee in Russia, if you thought she was good in the Olympics, if you thought she was good in the WNBA, if you thought she was good in college, you have no fucking idea what Russia Dee was. Overseas Dee is on steroids. It's insane the way she played. It was just a freedom over there. It was like the kind of sort of the way you might think of college basketball, where one player can dominate.
Yeah.
But you're older. You're in your prime. So your ability to dominate is even higher. Whereas in the WNBA, you're surrounded by talent, and it's even though you're the best player, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, her games overseas, nuts. And the one that sticks out, and there was a lot of emotion to it because our owner, Shaptai, had just been murdered that fall. We're now in the EuroLeague Final Four.
Crazy.
And we're playing against, we're Spartak at the time. We're playing against Ekaterinburg. They have Candace Parker, Cappie Pondexter, Deanna Nolan, some great European players.
Yeah.
Like they were tip-top. Celine Dumerc, Agnieszka Bigbriska, if I can get that right. We called her Biba. Tip-top. Ann Waters. I mean, the list goes on. This team was crazy talented. And they were basically our nemesis. And we had to play them in the semis because Europe at the time had a rule that two of the same country could not be in the finals. They think people would lose interest. That's an insane take, but
insane.
So anytime two teams from the same country,
Europe stuff.
Yeah. Anytime two teams from the same country got to the Final Four, you had to play each other in the semis.
Okay.
So it's basically the finals, but we're playing them in the semis. And it's game goes back and forth. In the last quarter, probably the last 5 minutes, I've just never seen anything like this. She just took the game over. I think we were down, who knows, like 5-6. She hits 3 straight threes. They score, it gets tied up. When they stopped her from scoring, it was an insane game. It's really sad. I wish we could find clips from it. I've never seen anything like it. She just put the entire team, the entire franchise, Shabtai's death, just all of it on her back. She finished with 37, 12, and 6.
Poof.
It was absolutely insane. Yeah. And they were throwing the kitchen sink at her, trying to stop her, and you just couldn't. I mean, the funniest, man, I guess I've seen her punt the ball. She got mad and punted that thing into the crowd.
Like from the court?
Literally, yeah. Got
Did
mad
she get
at a ref.
ejected?
Boop. No. Europe stuff.
I love that.
They were like, hang on.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody
go get the
back.
ball. Yeah. I've seen her do a lot over there. You know what? I'll give her a shout. She said this on our ATM Live too. I'll give her a shout. She did say, hey, Sue, there's this band. They're going to be big. They're going to be huge. They're going to be famous. I was like, yeah, right. She goes, mark my words, Pussycat Dolls.
How much her inclination had to do with the fact that there was pussy in the name of their band?
Yeah, probably 75%.
We don't know, but she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
She wasn't
wrong. I mean, she
wasn't right, but
right-ish.
she wasn't wrong. You know.
Some of my fond memories.
I'm throwing another game at you. It's just a quick one. It's your game. It's bench start cut. WD, Russia D, late night D. Bench start cut.
Honestly, it's going to go, I'm starting Russia D. I'm benching WD. And I'm cutting late night D. D, when D hits a wall, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
I have so many pictures of her passed out and me above her, like hangover style. So many. I could do like a whole collage. Actually, one of my last but not least, one of my favorite D stories, we won EuroLeague. We obviously celebrated,
Of course.
who knows till when, like into the wee hours.
Tomorrow.
The next day, we had plans. We had these whole things set up. We're going to do this in the afternoon and then hit this place and go to this club and do this whole thing. She would not answer her phone. And our doors where we lived on our floor were literally like next to each other. So I just had to open up my door, go to her door, knock. I was knocking, banging, wouldn't answer. And after a couple hours, literally, it was me and Todd, who was our assistant at the time. After a couple hours, we were like, texting her like, dude, like, just tell us if you're okay. Like, are you alive? And after hours of not responding to anything, she finally wrote back and just wrote, live. We're like, all right, at least she's breathing.
She's fine.
She's breathing.
She's fine. She'll be out later.
Oh my gosh. So that's, thank you for taking me through that. I could do this literally all day. Those aren't even
me and the viewers and the listeners. I think
those
could
aren't
also
even
do this.
scratching
It's
the
not even
surface.
scratching, so yeah.
I had to make these a little on the G-rated side. But yeah, it's been such an incredible ride. It's been so fun. But wait, what about you? You got to watch Dee as a player. You got to watch her, I guess, in our friendship as a friend. You experienced her on our ATM Live during quarantine.
I've watched her. I've been got by her.
Yeah, you've been got by her.
It is difficult to put into words, in part because it's just such a shame that she played, what I mentioned before, so much of her prime in a time when the W wasn't getting and women's basketball wasn't getting its rightful due and its place in the culture, because I am seriously hard-pressed to think of another athlete who has had the superstar career from on the court. She has everything on the court, like you said. Mm-hmm. She has everything from like leadership, teammate, doing things the right way. I mean, you mentioned before just her, commitment to, everybody likes to talk about now, commitment to my craft and getting better. And, all these guys talk about it in this way. It's like, that motherfucker was about it.
Old people can dream too.
Old people can dream too. So like doing things the right way and like she only cared about winning. I would say that's like one thing that I have sort of gleaned from her is like she cares about winning. And yes, she was the best player, and that required her to be great. But like ultimately, she just wanted to win. To the off court, like imagine her in this environment.
Oh yeah, the world wasn't ready.
Are you kidding?
She's what everybody would love right now.
She's like,
and 20 years ago they like weren't ready for it.
She's like Michael Jordan's smile and LeBron James's like acumen and like everything put together about all these athletes. And I say men specifically because they're the only ones that have gotten their due. But like put all that together, and then she's like the coolest, funniest, like most like vibey, charming, charismatic person you know, and she's the best. Like it's just, it's obviously I came to it late, so I only know what I know, but I feel like I have an appreciation for it. You guys really know, but we have, I don't think, ever seen anyone like that, and I don't know if we ever will again. She was truly special and one of one, and like. Just actually, when you talk about the greatest of all time and what that really means, I think it's her.
So you just made me think of something really funny, which is when you compare it to the men's side, which to your point, that is the comparison because we don't have anything else like it. I think of the TNT crew. She's Ernie, she's Kenny, she's Charles, and she's Shaq. Like she's all of them.
And she's, rest in peace, Kobe. Michael and LeBron all put together.
Yeah, it's like she's all the best. Oh, I meant from like a.
She's all.
I meant from like a personality. The way that they talk about the game. She's got, Shaq's humor plus his resume. She's got Charles's like one-offs, like craziness, plus a little bit like he doesn't have the quote unquote championship resume, but the resume. Kenny usually comes in with like an X's and O's situation. She can do that. And honestly, if she really wanted to be Ernie, she could. But then that'd be taking my job.
Yeah, no, we're not.
I gotta set her up.
Yeah, exactly.
Not joking.
So yeah, just a sensational career in every way possible. Do you have any parting words of advice for Dee heading into retirement?
I don't because if there's one thing that I know about Dee, she's gonna do it her way.
That's right.
And that's gonna be the best way, not just for her, but I bet there's gonna be people that end up emulating it.
Absolutely. Dee, congrats. There's really no words we can say, but we love you. And now we are We are diving right into the ninth hour of the show.
What did we do?
No, we are honestly we didn't quite expect to go that long, but it's deserving, and it's every bit of it was entertaining. Even just sitting here watch.
I know we really didn't even get into the IG live.
I know.
Those were
we
highlights.
didn't even get into our 4-hour
You know what?
IG
when
live.
I think about Dee retiring, before we get into the next part of our check-in, she was like, where are all the women supporting women's sports during our RG live? And then when we asked, like, well, what do you see? You see yourself coaching, GM? She's like, nah, I'm gonna own it. So that's actually what I anticipate from her. Yeah. She's gonna probably get into ownership. And to quote her, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be a coach. I'm not rebounding.
No.
I'm not rebounding for people.
No. That's not happening. Absolutely not happening.
Okay. On to the next.
On to the next generation of players, which Dee has so expertly paved the way. Sue Bird's college basketball vibe check of the week. I love saying that so much. It's so dumb. Sue, it's been wild. Like, what's going on? What are the vibes? We are already in March. It's March 4th as we are recording. We have what comes next? Conference tournaments, and then like they pick the things. Sue, you're the expert here. Go, take it away. What's happening?
It's been a wild season. It's been so many different changes in the poll. Top teams losing. Other top teams taking those spots, then losing themselves. It's been crazy. But this past week, there's a first for everything, first time for everything. There were some firsts. South Carolina beat Kentucky, which we're going to circle back on a little McDonald's situation that happened in a second.
Yeah, we are.
But South Carolina beat Kentucky, and the way everything played out, South Carolina and Texas were tied, and their system to break said tie ended in a coin flip. Usually there's like a list of things you go to, record against each other.
We
record
don't like
against
soccer
other top
because they
teams.
do the ties.
Well, this is unprecedented. Usually it goes into point differentiation, which for some reason the SEC doesn't do that. And it literally ended in a coin flip. So South Carolina is going to have the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament. Okay. But back to the actual game. After the game, Kenny Brooks, the coach of Kentucky, made a comment in his post-game interview about the amount of McDonald's All-Americans that South Carolina has, to which Dawn replied with a little Instagram post. Do you want to do it?
Da-da-da-da-da.
I'm loving it.
I cackled.
It was funny.
I cackled. This is
funny.
the shit I love about anything, but mostly sports. I cackled.
It was really funny.
It was hilarious.
Well
Dawn,
played. Well played. And I
Chef's
actually
kiss.
think my instinct is to say her and Kenny are cool. I actually didn't take
Yeah.
what Kenny said as a diss in any way. It was just
No,
kind of like,
it was
oh, they're
light.
so talented. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was all in good fun.
But yeah, Dawn had her little clap back. Loved
Hilarious.
it.
So funny.
Something else out of the SEC is that Flau'jae Johnson for LSU is not going to play in their tournament. So that could impact LSU's seeding depending on how everything
Yeah,
plays out.
Get well soon, Flau'jae.
Yeah,
we need you back in the tournament.
she's healing
Your
up for the
prime
NCAA
time.
tournament. Moving out to the West Coast, USC had a major win. They won the Big Ten. It's so weird. They're in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten tournament,
Yeah, that doesn't
beating
make any sense.
UCLA.
Who's
They're now
also
ranked
in the Big Ten?
Yeah,
That
I know.
doesn't make any
so
sense.
weird. USC is now ranked number 2, which is the highest they've been in 39 years. And the game was lit.
Yeah.
The game was lit. We only caught the fourth quarter. We had dinner plans, but the game was crazy. Cheryl and Reggie were there, which was a highlight for me. Cheryl obviously representing USC. Reggie went to UCLA. That was hilarious.
So cool. So
Candace
cool.
Parker was there. Jamel Hill, Carrie Champion, Jason Sudeikis, John Legend, JJ Redick, Leslie Jones, Nina Westbrook, Miles Garrett, Jaden Daniels. But it was the moment between Juju and Cheryl that I think was most special. And Juju's play. If you haven't seen these highlights, go check them out. She dominated doing it the way that she does, which is at her pace, the way she wants. It was impressive. It continues to be impressive to see somebody of her age play with such maturity.
Yeah.
But listen, those teams could meet. They can meet again in the Big Ten finals. So stay tuned for that.
We're tuned all the way in.
Yeah, the only other news, I mean, like you said, a lot of the conference championships are going to start this week. So that'll dictate a lot for the selection show. But you've got players like Azzi Fudd who are going to have to make a decision pretty soon here. Are they going to stay in college? Are they going to go to the WNBA? She has come out and said that she's a big fan of the pro and con list. Are you a fan of the pro con list? Like, how would you make a decision like this?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'm not a big fan of process. I go on vibes and instinct.
No, that's how you get dressed in the morning too.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm not really, because, I mean, at this point, especially for her, first of all, well, I just think she should go out. I'm just like, your team's going to be worse, obviously. And no offense to anyone, but your team's going to be worse. Everyone knows what you do and what you can do. So get to doing that at the level that you ultimately want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
Her game's probably better for the W anyways. And I'm just kind of like, what are you staying there for?
Okay, so I've actually broken it down, like if I were to do my own version of this list as if I'm her.
Okay, yeah. I was just
Kind
going
of.
on my own vibes.
Yeah,
For
kind
what?
of, yeah.
I'm reading the tea leaves out here, y'all.
Okay, so this is how I would break it down. Not if I'm her, but kind of just how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of injuries, she didn't actually play a lot of college games. All of her seasons have essentially been cut short in some way, shape, or form, right? So is that a reason to stay?
No.
Shrug. But you could also make the argument that because of injuries, you want to start your professional career sooner. And I actually remember Morgan Tuck was in a somewhat similar situation. And she was like, who knows how many years I have on these knees? I want to become a pro soon. That's just one take. It's not necessarily mine, but it's something to think about.
Interesting.
Okay. So staying means you can still cash in on all this NIL money. So money might not dictate this decision.
Yeah.
Meaning usually turning pro could mean more money. But if she stays, she enters the WNBA in 2025, a.k.a. the new CBA era, a.k.a. the new money era.
Yeah.
But I do think you'd make more money as a pro on and off the court, and you don't have to go to class.
You go to school.
So the money might be similar, but you don't have to go to class, which is really to say, do you want to be a 23-year-old senior? She's 22 now. She'll turn 23 next year, like next fall at the start. Do you want to be a 23-year-old senior? And as Paige said in her GQ article, She was tapped out on school. She's tapped out. It's her 5th year. She's tapped. To your point, do you want to keep playing with your UConn teammates, namely Sarah Strong? Do you want to move on to something different?
I love Sarah Strong.
I think if they win this year, she's out. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm seeing all the scales tip left
I'm
and
just
right.
kind of like, I'm looking at the W and thinking I'm trying to get my ass in there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
As quickly as possible. And there's going to be a lot more opportunity because there's more teams coming in. So, anyways, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So all arrows are heading us towards March Madness. That's what's exciting.
It's just primed for it. We, speaking of March Madness, are launching our own NCAA tournament challenge. See if you can beat me and Sue, which you probably will be able to beat me.
No, I'm like notoriously, I'm either
Bad?
amazing at this or terrible. I'm either first or last every year.
Well, I'm usually
without
last.
fail.
See if you can beat me and Sue and the rest of the A Touch More audience by building your own bracket. We're putting the link to sign up in our show notes. Let's have some fun with this, y'all. And hopefully we win so we can brag on air. And if we won't, we'll
act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, we'll just totally never talk about it ever again.
Okay, so before we get to extra time with Megan, we are going to give a quick little shout. So even though March Madness and college basketball is about to take off-season pro basketball league Athletes Unlimited has wrapped up a record-breaking season. AU Pro was held in Nashville, Tennessee for the first time, and after attendance jumped 77%, the league has agreed to stay in the city until 2026 and beyond. WNBA Nashville.
Hello.
Calling WNBA Nashville.
Knock, 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 knock.
So the way this works is the players in Athletes Unlimited Pro switch teams weekly. This season, the top 4 ranked players were Maddie Siegrist, Odyssey Sims, Crystal Bradford, and Maya Caldwell, which brings us to our Women Who Move Mountains segment presented by Paramount Plus. We want to recognize Maddie Siegrist as the champion of Athletes Unlimited.
Let's go.
Maddie this season set a league record with 7,052 total points, more than any other player. She was averaging 24 per, but zero surprise there because Maddie is literally a scoring machine. She is out of Villanova, and she is still the Big East leader in points scored in Big East play for men or women. So name a Big East athlete that you like or that played college basketball, men's, women's, Maddie scored more. That is legit. She also led the NCAA in scoring in 2023, and that was the one year that Caitlin Clark didn't. So she basically beat out Caitlin. From there, Maddie was drafted 3rd by the Dallas Wings in the 2023 draft and was building momentum in year 2 of her career before being sidelined with a finger injury. So I don't know, maybe this AU mountain moving performance will help her headed into this WNBA season where she could be potentially teaming up with Miss Paige Bueckers, the #1 pick. So shout out, Maddie. Congrats on an amazing offseason. We'll watch you this summer.
Congrats.
All month long, Paramount Plus celebrates Women Who Move Mountains, a special collection of series and movies spotlighting remarkable women's stories and talents. The collection includes some of the biggest Showtime hit originals, including the highly anticipated new season of Yellow Jackets starring Melanie Lynskey and Christina Ricci, The Women in the Wall starring Ruth Wilson, and The Shy, created by Emmy Award winner Lena Waithe. Stream them all with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. Head to ParamountPlus.com to learn more about Women Who Move Mountains.
Support for this episode comes from Nike. Nike's So Win campaign showcases the power of audacious dreams and relentless pursuit. So Win features athletes like Asia Wilson, Sha'Carri Richardson, Sabrina Ionescu, and Caitlin Clark, who embody audacious dreams and relentless pursuit and make Nike, Nike. Let's check it out.
You can't be confident, so be confident. You can't challenge, so challenge. You can't dominate, so dominate. You can't flex, so flex. You can't fill a stadium, so fill that stadium. Whatever you do, you can't win. So win.
How does it feel to see Asia, Sha'Carri, Sabrina, Caitlin? How does it feel to see them in this anthem?
Honestly, I feel like this is just like what they deserve. So to see them on the stage, on the Super Bowl stage, but being able to see the way that like the legacy of women's sports is living on. Like they deserve to be in these marquee moments. So for me, it's exciting. It like proves sort of the growth of the game and the growth of the sport in different ways, and to like see all these athletes compiled together and what was a beautifully shot commercial giving these players what they, ultimately deserve. I loved it. What about you, Sue?
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like this really marks the beginning of something. This type of ad definitely showcases what female athletes have to go through just to get any kind of attention. And I think for those 4 names especially, they're really making their mark. So this to me is the start of something really cool, something we fought for a really long time, something that people before us fought for a really long time. So it really, I don't know, it feels, it's giving turning point.
Go to Nike.com to learn more and see their So Win collection.
All right, now it's time for some extra time with Megan. You've got your soccer jersey on, so give it to the people.
I really, I do.
What is that, velvet?
Yeah, basically.
No, it's velour.
Oh, velour, yeah.
You don't know what is that velvet is from?
No.
Do ya?
No.
I can't wait for the Bicker. Because you know what? You're probably going to use that in a week. Proceed.
Yeah, I definitely will. Okay, we just have a couple things here in the extra time. Naomi Girma made her long-awaited debut at Chelsea. Unfortunately, only to come off in the 60th minute.
Tough.
It seems like it's just a little re-aggravation of the same injury in her calf. I think she was pointing to her calf. I'm not really overly concerned by this. I'm not concerned by it, though. To me, I'm just like a re-aggravation of the same muscle injury, requires some attention. So that probably is going to require her to be out for a little bit longer. Hopefully it's just kind of a short thing. Maybe it's just like uncomfortability in there rather than something else happening. She was able to play 60 minutes, which is great. But she definitely needs to pay attention to this one because I feel like reoccurring muscle injuries are just scary and dangerous. But hopefully this was something minor and she can get to it. They ended up tying that game against Brighton. But it looks like she's just going to be great in that back line. So congrats, Nay, on your debut there. I know that was a long-awaited, much talked about, and exciting move for you. The U.S. fell to Japan, unfortunately, in the People Cares Cup, in the She Believes Cup. To be honest, my feelings about this is like, it always sucks to lose. There's like a trophy on the line, even if it's a make 'em up. There's a trophy on the line.
Well, is it fair to say you guys have bonuses on the line as well?
Yes,
Okay.
there's
I just
also
want
money
people to
on the
know
line.
that.
Yes, there's
Big part of
pride and there's money on the line, of course. But I don't really put too much stock into it. We are missing so many players. Naomi, one of them, the triple espresso, Rose Lavelle, all still out. Nothing against the players there, but that's like a huge portion of our...
Well, it's your vets.
Yeah, it's
your
our
experience.
vets. It's our best players.
And Japan looked good.
Japan is good.
Yeah.
And Japan's also a top team in form. I feel like the real win out of this was the players who, because of these injuries and absences, really took their opportunity and like showed up and show out. I thought Lily Johannes was great, being able to get that time in the midfield. I thought Ali Sentnor was great, got the opportunity, which, especially for her because she plays in the front line with those three gone, big absences there. I thought she really showed up and just, it wasn't like, oh, she's the best. She had like the best debut I've ever seen, the best performances ever that anyone's ever seen. But it was just like, she was there. She was reliable. She scored goals. She was in the mix. She was, I feel like, imposing herself on the opportunity. And I think for Emma, a huge win to be able to see those players in that position where it's not like,
Throw 'em to the fire.
I want to see Allie, but I'm, I need to play Mal 65 minutes. And so Allie's only getting a little bit thrown into the fire, starts in a championship game against a really difficult opponent. I mean, Japan, honestly, nightmare to play against.
They just seem
Every
like they wear you
single
down
time. Every single
mentally.
time I ever played against Japan, it was just like, this is going to be the worst game ever.
They don't wear you down. Outside looking in, they don't wear you down physically in that they're physically imposing, but their style of play is going to wear you down mentally and then physically because you're basically chasing them.
The whole game.
Because they're just keeping possession
It
the
just
whole
feels
time.
like you can never,
But they
never ever
it
get
seems
the
like they
ball.
break you mentally first.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They're always so difficult to play against. And this is a really strong team that they have right now. And then the NWSL is starting back up again. We have the Challenge Cup this coming Friday, March 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern on Prime. The Challenge Cup has had many iterations, but this iteration is going to be a rematch of the final last year. So the Pride are playing the Spirit. I'm excited to watch this.
Is there money on this game? Or is this just Pride?
You know, I don't know, but there's definitely money for the league. It's certainly a property that they're selling in a sort of big kind of like prime time event. It's kind of like a kickoff party for the year.
So we had them overseas because, interestingly enough, which I know you know this, but maybe the listeners don't, soccer culture and the way you guys do your cups and your like formats, European basketball does that. So it's really like a European culture thing. So we usually started the season with the Super Cup, which was the winner of EuroLeague, the top league, versus the winner of Euro Cup, the like B League, for lack of a better, played against each other. So it's remnants of that. Yeah,
very much so. So I'm excited to tune in. I don't know in what form everybody's going to be, and this is obviously, you know, everybody's first game, players coming back from injury or just from preseason. Is Trinity playing? I don't know. You know, Marta, Barbara Banda, some of the biggest stars. I'm not sure who's fully fit and ready, but I'm excited to just get the NWSL season started. So
yeah, it's really good.
All right, that's all I got for Megan's extra time.
Punching out the clock.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for soccer to start back up, though. Not because there's too much basketball, but just because I love soccer.
I didn't think that. Was that just like a slip right there?
Well, maybe.
You're like, my turn to talk on the pod?
Yeah, you're like, you're done. No,
extra time turning into full time and extra time starting now. Anyways, that takes us into the intersection. And for today's intersection, we have an entire spread to talk about. Paige Bueckers was on the cover of GQ Hype.
Ballin'.
She gave a wide-ranging interview, but also showed some versatility in her looks. Megan, thoughts? What'd you think?
I loved all of them.
I loved all of them.
I loved every single one of them. It just was
the cover was dope.
It was so cool. Great suit.
Great suit.
Just very classic YSL. I loved the, like, how high level the styling was. I loved pulling in, like, this
shout
is
out Brittany.
Shout out Brittany Hampton. This is very Paige.
Yeah.
But also stuff that we, like, haven't seen from her. I feel like this was, like, more elevated. It's just, like, fun and cool. I think, you know, I see this and I just can't help but think about, like, the entire context of women's sports and why it is so important to have a shoot like this, to be a part of that culture, to be wearing, you know, the brands that she's wearing. It's not just about like wearing designer brands, but it's about like that sort of like level of coolness.
Yeah, the crossover of it.
Yeah, the crossover, the authenticity, the like credentialization of it all in a star. I mean, frankly, that's like really sort of like queer coded. And there's like tomboy stuff, and there's like crop tops, and there's basketball shoes, and there's like oversized suits. And like, I just think it's giving a lot of what women's sports really is in a really authentic way. I love that about Paige. Anyways, she always is like just bringing exactly what she wants to bring in a really fun, cool, stylish way. And the interview was great, all of that. So I thought that this was a great spread, and I would like to see more of this with female athletes, like giving us more range to be stylish, and to, whether it's like, sometimes I feel like it's only like super sexy or super tomboy. And I'm like, let's get all in the middle and like mash it up to what's cool and what looks great.
Well, that's literally what I was going to say, which is, you know, women's athletes traditionally have been put in those boxes. You either had to, you know, look a certain way for this or look a certain way for that. You didn't have much say. So what this speaks to me is just, you know, it started, I think, a couple years ago where people started to realize like, oh, I can fall anywhere on this spectrum of style, right? If we use what you just kind of said as the bookends, right? Like a tomboy look versus like something super femme, but there's everything in between. And it started a couple years ago, but This shoot really marks, I think, a player being like, nah, I want to like be all over that spectrum in my own way to showcase myself. So it's really empowering, I think, when I look at these photos, especially the one where she's laying on Jonathan, who's our husky dog. I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that to Johnny over there?
Yeah.
No, everything. I mean, I was immediately drawn to the suit in the cover shot.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm getting into ties myself. I have for the last year or so. So it's nice to feel validated. Brittany putting Paige in a tie. Love
go.
that. I also was immediately drawn to the Jordan 1s. I mean, those things, when you zoom in, those look like, did
Them
Jordan
things
wear
are
them?
borrowed.
Did Jordan wear them?
Those
like,
are
what's
on
going
loan.
on? But she looks great. She looks herself. And that can be hard as a young athlete. But Paige is finding her way. So that was great. And this kind of takes us into our fit check portion, because there were some NWSL kits dropped this week.
Is it a kit check?
Yeah, it's a kit check. So we're going to do a kit check. And yeah, I'm actually just going to literally give the mic to you and let's hear it. So what do you got for us? What's the good, the bad, the best?
Well, we're going to recuse our teams from this. Namely because Gossam's is the worst.
Oh.
So we're just going to get that right out of there.
You're just jealous.
And the Reign is struggling with a color issue that doesn't allow it to be great.
Excuses.
I like the vibe of the Reigns. They actually sent us 2 jerseys. Thank you to the homies for sending them. I can't wait to wear it. But, it's in gold and blue. And it's like, it's just only so much you can do. Get us back into the purple and volt. That would be my suggestion. Anyways, we're going to recuse.
We'll start with the good.
We're going to recuse both of those teams because of our biases and undying loyalties.
So
the good. Yes. Okay, Utah. Low-key nice. They're not my favorite colors. It's just like kind of a royal blue and yellow. But I thought they did a lot with it. And it looks cool. It's vibey. I would imagine as a fan, it'd be like cool to wear. I could see it styled different ways. I just thought they like popped in a really nice way. Angel City, really subtle. I would say like visually, just like on like pure aesthetics, it's a little leaves you wanting a little bit, much to be desired. But when you really get into it, there's like this almost like stenciling of all of these like LA landmarks. And so I feel like it's really detailed and like really thoughtful. And so I wanted to give a shout out there. It's also just like clean. I like a nice clean, whitish or light colored kit. Those are cool. And I like the Spirit. I think some people didn't like the Spirit ones. They're bright yellow.
I have to admit, I'm trying to look these up and it's hard to know which teams are which, because one team's Ring and one team's CVS and one team's
get over it,
Sutter
Sue.
and
We
one
have
team's
sponsors.
GE. Yeah, but you can't even tell.
I know. It's such a soccer thing.
I know Gotham though. CarMax.
Yeah. It's such a soccer thing.
Okay.
So I really like
Proceed.
the Spirit CVS Health.
That helps.
I really like the
okay.
Spirit one. Super bright.
Yeah.
Super fun. It's going to be great visually.
Volt.
Like Volt. It's going to be great visually. In the stands. It's going to be cool for fans to wear. I really like those.
Okay.
The bad. Louisville. Louisville's color couldn't be less exciting. It is just screaming like, don't look at me.
Which one's that?
The green. The green one. The GE Health or GE Lights or something. It's just like, their colors have been so cool too. They have purple. And they have like a light purple that they can wear, like a beautiful color that they have had really great jerseys before. And this just is like, hey, don't come watch us play. Tough. I didn't like it. Sorry, Louisville. I know my friend's
I think
coach
it's
there.
Louisville.
Louisville. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, my friend's coach there. I love you guys.
But you got great bourbon.
You got great bourbon
And whiskey.
and horses and whiskey and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and now the winner for the best. Houston Dash.
Spotted it.
Houston Dash. It's amazing.
Yeah.
First of all,
The
not their
socks set it
colors.
off.
Not their colors at all.
The socks set
They're
it
orange and black, which they've had some good kits too, but orange is a lot. It's very Halloween coded. This is a black and pink, but like I don't even know what's going on in the jersey, but the pink is just like almost like paint, not splatter. What am I trying to say? Like melted
Spray
into
paint?
it. Yeah, like spray paint-ish, but more like fluid, like a lava lamp kind of, but
yeah.
not. I don't even know, you guys, what I'm saying at this point. And then So it's like black with like this like purplish hot pink. And then the socks are hot pink. It's so good. It is so good. I love it so much. I definitely tend more towards like bright colors of jerseys, have fun with it, be expressive. It's probably from all my years playing on the U.S. national team where like it's just red, white, and blue. Maybe if you're lucky.
It is cool how
Every
they
5
change
years
it
you
up.
get a red jersey.
It is pretty cool how you guys can change it up year to
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Like, I wish the WNBA could do that.
Yeah, I love it. So
That's awesome.
I like a lot of, I think for the most part, the jerseys look really good and they're starting to get like more personality and brighter and more colors involved stuff. But wow, Houston Dash, chef's kiss. Love it.
The Bicker of the week. It's the Bicker of the week. When your partner's being sleek, it's the Bicker of the week. Yeah.
Well, it is time for Bicker of the Week. We've already alluded to it a little bit throughout the course of this show.
I don't even know what the Bicker of the week is.
So it's not really a bicker as much as it's just something that bugs me.
Oh, now we're just bringing grievances into the Bicker of the week. Now we're just saying shit that bugs us. Noted.
I'm
Noted.
mad because...
Yeah.
So this week's Bicker of the Week has to do with movie lines. And as I said, we've alluded to this a little bit throughout, which is really just to say, I will use movie lines randomly. Some pretty like funny ones, some pretty like historical ones, well-known ones.
Yeah.
And Megan very rarely knows them, but she will pretend to know them, act like she knows them. This actually happened during the Oscars when Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan came out to present an award. At the very end, he made a comment like, you know, when you have the answer to who the best supporting actor is, you want that to happen. You want the rest of your life to start now. Something in that ballpark. I can't remember exactly, but it was a reference to his famous line in When Harry Met Sally, which is why they were together presenting. And I laughed, and you said, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, this is a nod to his famous line. And so I had to explain that to Megan, at which point she was like, oh, yeah, she doesn't. But something happened the next day that really got me, which was there is a movie line. The line is, I'm right on top of that rose.
Yep.
Do you know what movie it's from?
The babysitter's dead.
Okay, don't tell mom close.
Don't tell mom the babysitter's
Don't
dead.
tell mom the babysitter's dead. Megan is unsure if she's seen it, so I basically had to give her the whole plot and tell her what that line means, when it's being used, and it's essentially like, I'm not doing a thing or the thing is not being done, but I'm in my workplace and I need to I'm right on top of that rose, like, got it, figure it out, right? So Megan does know the definition of it. And then the other day, we were in a conversation. I don't even remember what we were talking about. But I basically was just like, oh, can you do X, Y, and Z? And this mother looked at me and said, I'm right on top of that, Rose. I couldn't believe it. I texted our group chat with our producer immediately. I was like, we have a bicker. I couldn't believe it. She threw the movie line back in my face, which speaks to your quick wit, which is one of the reasons I love you.
Yeah, I am elite at
using other people's shit against them. I'm aware.
using it at like being quick on the uptake of what it means, having no idea, only because you're telling me what it is. It's not like I'm figuring out on my own. And then being able to immediately use it in context generally against you.
I know. There's zero doubt in my mind that later tonight, I'm going to be like holding a soft pillow and you're going to go, what is that, velvet? Zero doubt in my mind.
What is that even from?
Oh my God. Coming to America.
Oh. Did it have nakedness in it?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean nakedness?
There was another like Eddie Murphy movie when I was younger that had nakedness in it that I was always
What does
trying
that
to
even
watch.
mean?
It just
A movie that had nakedness in it.
naked.
Like
stuff.
Eddie Murphy Raw? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't think that was
Okay.
going to be appropriate. Anyways,
So, that's the bicker of the week.
I do it. I'm not going to stop doing it, and it does. It drives you nuts.
It does.
Drives
I secretly kind of like it.
because you're
It's
teaching.
funny.
It is.
Well, you
funny.
know, is
I
there anything
really
worse
got
than when you
with
get got, but it's funny?
I get you all the time. You don't like it. You rarely give me the satisfaction.
Well, I'm giving it to you now. It was
Thanks.
funny. Good job, baby.
Appreciate it.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Call us at 1-866-A-TOUCH-8 or leave us a comment on YouTube about this week's Bicker. I don't even know what there's to comment on
I
this
don't
one.
even know, you guys. Just tell us what's up. Tell us what's up. All right, everybody. We just have a touch more left for you. Sue, you kind of have a big one this week. This is really exciting. Take it away.
It is. So last weekend marked TOGETHXR's 4-year anniversary. I cannot believe
That's
how
wild.
fast time has gone. So I just want to take a second to say how proud I am of what we've already accomplished. We are the fastest growing, most engaged women's sports brand on social, the largest women's sport brand on TikTok. We have one of the hottest products. Everybody watches women's sports. It has generated $6 million in revenue, which is insane. Literally everyone and their mom has it. Every celebrity has it. Every athlete has it. President Biden shouted it out during the Gotham visit, which I was there for. And he kind of like looked at me like, nod, which is pretty dope. Mm-hmm. The New York Times called it the unofficial uniform for women's basketball last summer. And let's be honest, if you've been to any game, event, if you've seen a basketball,
any sporting event, anywhere.
If you've seen an event on TV, you've seen this shirt. You've seen it in its hoodie form. You've seen it in every form. I have the keychain. It's everywhere.
The sticker, the bootleg form, the hoodie form.
You've seen all the forms.
The multiple color form. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
So for a touch more, I'm also just really excited to talk about what is to come. We are in production on season 2 of Surf Girls, which is a series we partnered with Hello Sunshine with for Amazon Prime. That releases later this year. We have a book coming out called Play It Forward. It's a collection of 25 stories about women as barrier breakers and game changers in sport. We're going even bigger. We're going global. We're going to be at every event you could possibly think of. You've seen us before at WNBA All-Star and NWSL championships. We want to be at the Euros, US Open, you name it. And we just dropped a 2-part documentary series called The Drop-In with US Snow and Ski Federation. It's documenting the competition and camaraderie with our female snowboarders, which you can watch on TOGETHXR's YouTube. We also, last but not least, have a ginormous, huge announcement coming at the end of April. Yeah, and I can't say. I was literally told, do not say.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know this.
Sorry about that. Tough. So I just want to send some love to the other co-founders, Alex Morgan, Chloe Kim, and Simone Manuel, but also to everyone at TOGETHXR, past, present, future, for absolutely killing it. And I mean, I've already said a little bit of what's next, but I literally can't wait.
Very excited. I just want more shirts. I want more of them. I want more colors. I want sweatpants. I want it all. I want a hat. I want a beanie. I already have the bag. My little a touch more for this week is just shout out to Sabrina and Serena. I don't even know why I did it like that, but their names just seem to flow well together. Serena has joined the Tempo WNBA ownership group out of Toronto. Obviously, the Toronto Tempo are the newest WNBA team in 2026. She has joined that ownership group and just spoken about essentially like continuing her dominance off the court that she had on the court and continuing to push the game. I mean, I think
dominating investing.
Dominating.
Her portfolio is
full of unicorns. Just a stable of unicorns. Literally. I'm like, get me that deal flow, Serena. No, just incredible. When you think of, I mean, both the Williams sisters, but in particular, Serena, just like winning while simultaneously changing the game for the better forever. Every time she stepped on the court, whether it's what she wore, what she said, the way she won everything, just who she was as a person, was incredible. So Toronto is very excited to have
my
Serena.
First thought was, is she in on the Raptors too? Curious. My second thought, and I think there's a lot of people's thoughts, like, well, how does Drake feel?
This is another tough L for Drake. Coming up the Super Bowl, this is another really tough L. She's obviously going to be sea-walking on the court, and it's going to be really tough. The next one, Sabrina Ionescu, joins Bay FC in their investor group for the NWSL. Again, she spoke, similar to Serena, just like coming in this age of women's sports, these athletes have so much more opportunity to give back, but also like be a part of the growth of the business. Obviously, Sabrina is very smart in the way that she runs her business, whether it's her shoe or, her success on the court. It's really cool to see her expanding in all of these different ways. She's from the Bay Area, so this is just like a totally natural fit. So congratulations, honestly, to the Tempo and to the Bay FC for landing these massive investors and people who will bring top tier, investment strategy, but also just like their success in on their respective courts is undeniable. So very cool for both of them and excited to see so many women getting back into the game.
Take us out.
That's it for our episode, everybody.
Thanks to McDonald's for their support. McDonald's and the game of basketball have a long, storied history, from giving fans a basketball collectible with the 96 Dream Team Cups to the 50 years of the annual McDonald's High School American Game. And now, McDonald's is turning the spotlight not just on women's basketball, but on one of the game's biggest stars, queen of rebounds and double-doubles, WNBA All-Star Angel Reese. For a limited time, you can try McDonald's new Angel Reese special featuring the barbecue bacon quarter pounder with cheese. Let's break it down. Barbecue sauce, American cheese, crispy bacon, pickles, onions, a sesame seed bun. And don't forget the fries and a drink. Maybe try Angel's favorite, a cold, crisp high C. Get the Angel Reese special at McDonald's while you still can, at participating restaurants for a limited time. Paramount Plus celebrates Women Who Move Mountains, a special collection of series and movies spotlighting remarkable women's stories and talents. The collection includes all of your favorite leading ladies, including Academy Award-winning actresses Michelle Yeoh, Kathy Bates, and Helen Mirren. Watch Yeoh as Emperor Philippa Georgiou in Section 31, the newest addition to the Star Trek universe. Don't miss Bates in the reimagining of Matlock, and catch Mirren as she defends the Dutton legacy in the newest season of 1923. Head to ParamountPlus.com to learn more about Women Who Move Mountains.
Thanks to our friends at Nike for supporting A Touch More. Everybody watches women's sports. We know that. And Nike has always supported women as we win, lead, and dominate. Their So Win campaign inspires athletes to chase their dreams, shatter the status quo, and be unapologetic as they break the barriers that so often come in our way. We love this campaign and are so thrilled to see so many of our favorite athletes sharing their unfiltered stories in new and inspiring ways. Want to learn more? Go to Nike.com to learn more and see their So Win collection.